thoracic cage first.
Wait. All right.
All right. How many ribs are there in the thoracic cage?
One,
There
two,
are.
3, 4.
I mean, there's 12 pairs, right? 24 ribs, right? So, if we look at them, we count them. The first one starts at the top. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The first 7 are called
True ribs.
true ribs. Why are they true ribs?
They're attached to the sternum.
They have a direct connection right into the sternum. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now the next 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are known as false ribs. Why? Because they're not directly connected to the sternum. All right? If we look at the false ribs, we can break those down further to these little 2 that are hanging out.
Floaters.
These guys are called floating ribs because they have no attachment at all. All right? So that's our, in terms of ribs. 12 pair, first 7 true, next 5 are false. Okay? So on the exam I may say, show me the false ribs. Don't just come up and do this. Go, all right, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so therefore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are false ribs. Okay? The sternum is broken down into 3 sections as well. All right? If we look at this one, here's the sternum, right? The top part is called the manubrium. The middle part here is called the body. And the little tip down here is called the xiphoid process. Okay? Xiphoid process, body, manubrium. All right, those are the 3 parts of the sternum. In terms of that, that's mostly what we have to know about the thoracic cage. Ribs. Now, this part right here, this is called costal cartilage. Okay? It is what attaches the ribs directly into the sternum. So that would be the other thing you might have to know for the ribs. If I say, show me the costal cartilage, then you'll just come up here and point. On here, not as noticeable, but it is supposed to, I guess, be right here. That seems like where the joint is. So if you point it up onto that part, same thing. All right, but it's just a cartilage that attaches the ribs into the sternum. Now, if we go to the the vertebral column. How many bones are in the vertebral column? How many? Yeah, I mean, it's somewhere around there. I mean, it depends on a couple of different things, but there are 7 cervical vertebrae. All right, and they start from number 1 and they go to number 7. So if we look at it, here's C1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, that's 7. Because one of the questions on our little exam I'll ask you is, show me T4. Okay? So how do you know where thoracic 4 is? Well, you go through the cervicals first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many thoracics are there?
12.
12. So you just start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if I wanted T4, you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. You tell me that's thoracic 4. All right? 7 cervical, 12 thoracic. And then how many lumbars do we have? 5. All right? So again, you can count 7. You can count 12. And then L1 will be right after T12, right? Me, I'm just going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, so I know that's L1. All right? So L1, L2, L3, L4, and L5. All right, so we have 5 lumbars. So if I say, show me L3, you can certainly count 7, 12, and then go 1, 2, 3. Or you can come down here and say, that's L5, that's L4, therefore that's L3. Okay? Tailbone is also known as the sacrum, right? And then we have this little piece hanging off the bottom, that's the coccyx. Okay? So all of that is game for the exam. All right? Now, if we look at some of the bones themselves. All right, here's my 3. Which one's which one's cervical, which one's thoracic, which one's lumbar?
Cervical's in the middle. No, cervical's on your right.
All right, so that's cervical, right? Typically you can tell by size, right? This is the cervical. They tend to be smaller, right? The next one is the thoracic, and then the last one is the lumbar. Okay? So a lot of times I do one of these things, and I'll go like that. All right, show me the thoracic vertebra, and then you just have to pick them out. All right. Now, if we look at structures, the nice thing about the vertebra, once you know all the structures on one, they're the same on all the others. So if we're looking at this, this is the body of the vertebra. Okay? We look at the whole is the vertebral foramen. Okay? Now, if we look at the body, then we have these little pieces that stick off. They're the thoracic processes. Okay? Now, hang on, let me find something. What?
Which ones are the thoracic?
That's these guys here.
Okay.
Transverse processes, is that what I said?
Thoracic process.
All right, go with transverse, better.
Okay.
So we have the vertebral body, we have the vertebral foramen, right? We have the transverse processes. Now we have this little spot that goes from here to here on both. That's called the pedicle. All right, and it leads from the body back to these facets. All right, so vertebral body, vertebral foramen, transverse processes, and then this is the pedicles. All right. Now you see a little flat spot there, and if I flip them over, we have a little flat spot there and there. That is where the vertebra articulates, right? That's where we form a joint with the bone above and below. All right. So that is just known as the articulating facets. Is there a superior and inferior? Yes. But for our purposes, if I point to the little flat spot, you can tell me this is the articulating facet. Okay? And then we have this spot that runs from here on both sides. It leads back to the middle part. And that is the lamina. Okay? The lamina form this piece in the middle. And then that is the spinous process. Okay? So, one more time through it. This little hole here, should that be there? No, that's just how they were held together. All right? So, this is a vertebral body. This is the vertebral foramen. This spot that leads back, that is the pedicle. The little flat spots, top or bottom, that's the facets, the articulating facets. If we're looking at the side that I'm holding with my finger, that is the transverse process. From the facets back to the spinous process, that is the lamina. Okay? So, that's a thoracic vertebra. If I took a lumbar vertebra, and we did the same thing. This is the body. This part that leads back here, that's the pedicle, the whole, vertebral foramen. Now the facets are a little different here in the lumbar, but we still have the flat spot there, we still have the flat spot there, right? We have the flat spot there and there, that's the articulating facets, right? And then, if we look at this spot from here to here, these two would lead back to that. That's the lamina. This is the spinous process. And then have the transverse process.
Where's the pedicle on that?
Pedicle runs from the body back to here, so it's that little spot right there.
Okay.
Okay. So now if we look at a typical cervical vertebra, all right, because there are two atypical that we'll go over here in just a second. But again, this part here is the that's the body. Spot that runs back here is the pedicle. These guys that run back here is the lamina. The part I'm holding is the spinous process. The big hole in the middle, vertebral foramen. And I do have the two little side pieces. They are the transverse process. So what's different about this one?
Doesn't have a lamina.
No, it doesn't have the articulating
facets.
Oh, my bad then. Here's a flat spot,
Oh.
flat spot. So what's different about this one?
Wait, where's the flat? Oh, in the back. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you see that flat spot there?
Okay.
So what's different between these two? What haven't we seen? Now, this one's not supposed to be there.
Oh, so
These
there's those
guys
two holes.
are there. Okay? Now, this is a transverse process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these are
Transverse foramen.
foramen. Okay? What do? They allow blood vessels, right, to run up into the neck to get up into the brain. All right? So one thing that distinguishes a cervical vertebra from any of the others, and that is the transverse process. Now, they're not as prominent on here. Maybe not so much here, but if you actually look at the spinous processes, at least from here to here, these guys actually split into